Hello. So today I thought that I would show you like the process of making my, I guess, latest crochet piece. So I am thinking of making kind of like an open stitch, like cardigan jacket type thing, and then put in fabric underneath it. So I have made this, like the front panels. So this would be like a front panel, and then I still have to make the back panel and the sleeves. I wanted to make the front panels first to kind of get an idea of what it could look like. So I've got the two front panels here, like this. So my front panels, and then for the yarn that I am using, it is Joann Big Twist, which is very sad because Joann is closing. So it's the Big Twist Hush. There you go. There you go. It is a weight 5, and I am using a 11.5 millimeter hook. That's the yarn that I'm using. I think these two have only been from this one. So far it's only used one skein, but I did buy a second one because I don't think I will get away with just one, but we'll see. And then I also got like this fabric, which is like kind of fun, a fun pattern, which is also from Joann. So sad that they are closing. So this is the fabric. I don't really have like a lot of room to. I use my mom's sewing machine and she has her quilt stuff out, so I don't have a lot of room to like spread this fabric out. So yeah, this is the fabric that I chose. I wanted like a patterned one, and I didn't want something that was real close in color to this yarn. So I'm thinking like this would look pretty good. You'd be able to see some of the pattern, and I don't know like how I'm going to sew the fabric onto this exactly, like, so we'll have to see. This will all be an experiment. But yeah, I got quite a bit of fabric because Joann is closing, and I wanted to make sure that I have more than enough, so that if I make a mistake or run out or something, I do have some extra on hand. So we'll see how this goes. I think the colors with the yarn, it looks pretty nice together. I like it. I wanted kind of like a different pattern fabric. I didn't want floral, so I found this like sea life aquatic one with like turtles, whales, all of the little sea octopus, squid, jellyfish. Who knows what else is on there. It's like a pretty fun pattern, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, so for making like the crochet part of it, you will want to start with a chain of 22 and then half double crochet across so that you have 21. Next, you'll do a stacked single crochet, do 2 of them, and then turn. I think it was actually 3 stacked single crochets. So next, we are going to chain 3, skip 3, and then do a triple crochet into that 4th stitch, and we'll repeat that all the way to the end, and in with a triple crochet. So this is what it looks like after you do the chain 3, triple crochet, skip all the way across. So once you've done the chain 3, skip 3, triple crochet all the way across, and then in the triple crochet you're going to chain 17 and then half double crochet back down to the. Once you have double crochet down, you are going to do stacked single crochet 3 of them, and then you'll just repeat what you did here, where you chain 3, skip 3, triple crochet into that 4th stitch all the way across, all the way to the end. So once you then do that, you'll just do another half double crochet down, and you'll just be repeating a row of half double crochet, a row of the chain 3, skip 3, triple crochet, and you'll repeat that all the way until you get where from here to wherever reaches from your shoulder to your other shoulder. So once I get to that, we will then be making this other part here. So here's how it looks about halfway done. We continuing still with the same chain 3, skip 3, treble crochet, then half double crochet across all the way until the end. So about 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 more of these little square parts. So here is the back. I have completed all of the rows. I added 1 extra row of the treble and half double crochet. So now I will be making this part here, this little shorter part. And for that, you'll just do the same as this. So you do the stacked single crochet, do 3 of them, skip 3, treble crochet into that 4th stitch, and you'll do it all the way so that it's lined up. So you'll do it so that you get the same number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll want 5 little boxes on this side, and then we'll chain and turn and do a half double crochet row and then fasten it off. So we now have a cat in the way, but here it is finished. So I've got one side and then all the way over to the other side. And this cat here is not helping out. But I think the back panel is done. Okay, so I realized that I didn't exactly explain how to make the front panels. So yeah, the front panels just the same technique as the back panel, except once you get about halfway where this part here reaches from your shoulder to about the center of your chest, you will fasten it off. Make sure you end on a row of half double crochets. To attach the 2 pieces, you just do a slip stitch through both pieces so that they are connected. And when you can open it, it's like this. So they're connected. So I'll be doing that to the other side here. Here are the 2 front pieces connected. And then you can see here the 2 front pieces, they don't touch. This is that extra row that I added to give some space for a neck. So next you will take some yarn, turn it so that the wrong sides are out, the right sides are together, and single crochet these 2 together. I would start at the corner and work your way down towards the middle. So here it is all sewn together, or crocheted together. Right now it's just like a vest. I think that I might cut the fabric and test it to see how it works. Oh, no, you don't bite that. Okay, so I have this laid out, and now I think I'm just going to cut around it. I think cutting it on this side with the pattern facing up should be fine because it is the same on each side. So when you flip it over, it should be fine, and I will leave extra, more than enough fabric around the edges because I'm not sure how it will really work. So here I am just cutting out the fabric. I just laid the crochet piece on top of the piece of fabric and then cut around it. I left quite a bit of fabric around it because I wanted it to be bigger so that I could adjust it to make it smaller if needed. So here is that one back piece, and then I just cut out a second piece that same way, except this time I laid the fabric over it, and this one will end up being the front panels. So just cutting out the same with this one. I did cut it right up against that piece of fabric. I wasn't worried too much about cutting some of that top fabric because I cut it bigger than needed. So yeah, this was not the easiest. The scissors is quite hard to open and close, so it's pretty hard. So then you have the front and back of it, and obviously the one is still connected, so I just folded it in half and then cut a little slit for the middle, and then I did the same on the other side. And then I just took the rotary cutter, I think that's what it's called, and I just put a ruler thin, I don't know what these are actually called, and I just cut along there so that this would be the front panels of it. And then there goes Lily. Here is the back panel, and then these would be the 2 front panels, which a little cat here went and laid in front while I was cutting this in half. So we've got the two front panels. Now, I don't know if I should sew like all of this together first, or if I should sew like each panel into the crochet thing. I'm not really sure with that. So we'll see. Apparently with like stretchy fabrics, you should use a zigzag stitch. This little cat here is being difficult. Yeah. I'm going to sew from here to here, and this is like the side. And here I am trying to sew it, and I did have some problems, which was not very fun. Yeah. This is not going well. Can't sew a straight seam. What the heck? I don't know what any of these things up here mean. The thread keeps breaking. Now what's going on with the bobbin? What the heck? Let me just... No, what the heck? Can it just like work? I just want to sew a side. Okay, so here I am sewing the piece. I had some troubles with this, but in the end it was put together. Was it good and look professional? I don't know, but it's going to be covered by crochet, so I wasn't too concerned about stuff looking nicely. And then we have this mannequin, so I decided to put the fabric and the crochet piece on it to see how they lay together. And here I'm just like looking to see if there's any places that need to be like adjusted majorly. And I did this without the sleeves because I thought the sleeves might get in the way and be a little hard to do. But I have not sewn the crochet onto the fabric at all. So this is just like pinning it together to see how it lines up. I decided to line the seams up at the shoulders, so that shoulder seam on the fabric with the shoulder seam for the crochet piece. Those lines, like the seams, lining them up made sense because it's a seam there and a seam on the fabric and the crochet piece, which is like a good point of like, I guess, reference to line stuff up there, pin it together, and then see how the rest of it like fits together. So here is roughly how it is looking so far. I was focusing just on this right side of the screen, left side of like the body. Okay, so then for the sleeves, you are going to attach it to the bottom like little armpit area, and then you just do the stacked single crochet, chain 3, treble crochet, just like repeating that pattern all the way around, just like you did with the rest of this pattern. So this is what I have so far right there. So I'll be doing this until I reach a good length, and then I'll make a little cuff. So once you reach the length of the sleeve, you will just end it with a half double crochet, and then you'll just decrease around, and that is the single crochet decreases. For the cuff, you are going to chain 8 and then single crochet down the chain, slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet back up this in the back loop only. And we'll just be repeating that all the way around, where we single crochet across, and then when you get to this side, you slip stitch 2, turn, and then work back up. So here I single crochet down, and then I turned and I'm single crocheting back down towards the sleeve of it here. And then I'll slip stitch into these next 2 stitches and just be repeating that. Okay, so once you finish all the way around, you just slip stitch these 2 sides together. And you then fasten it off, and you've got a sleeve done. So then you would repeat that on the other side and weave in all the ends, and then you're done crocheting it. Okay, so here are the sleeves. I just like laid the crochet cardigan out and cut the fabric to about the size, giving it a little bit extra, and then I have the second sleeve there. So next I have this so far roughly made. I've been focusing on this side of the sleeve. So I think next I will add the sleeves here, and hopefully all of this will work out. I did try, I had like my crochet piece over top of this, and it looks like from like right here to this here will work, like it will line up. I'm not sure about like the armpit area, so we'll have to check that out. Here I am pinning everything to make sure that like the stuff lines up before sewing on the sleeves. Since I like did cut the fabric bigger, I wanted to make sure that the stuff around like the armhole would line up properly, like so that there wasn't any extra fabric. And there did end up being a little bit of extra fabric that had to be cut right in like the armpit area. So I just cut that off, and I think other than that, like the stuff was lining up pretty good. I lined up the end of the shoulder with where the end of like the shoulder is where we connected the sleeve on the crochet piece. So I just wanted to make sure that all lined it up, and did have like a little bit of extra fabric to allow for the seam. I don't remember what like size seam I did. I honestly don't remember. Like I didn't try to do anything because I didn't know what I'm doing. I'm still new to sewing. Then once this was all lined up, I did go ahead and sew the sleeve. I started with making it like an actual sleeve, so it was like kind of like all sewn together so that it was like a circle, maybe? Is that how you describe it? I don't know. I then went ahead and attached the sleeve, which I did not record that part, but here you can see the sleeve is connected. I then went and put the crochet piece over it again to see how the stuff was lining up, and it was looking pretty good. So I then repeated the same process with the other side of the sleeve, pinning everything, making sure that stuff lined it up, cutting any fabric that needed to be cut. I then attach the sleeve the same way. Something that I didn't talk about, but I did, or show. I didn't show this. I decided to cut some of the seams that were like pretty big because I had a big seam, because I figured if I had to like make it bigger, then I still need like the extra room. But once like the seams are all lined up, I went and cut the seams, and then I like sewed them down. I don't know if there is a term for that, but that's what I did. So all the seams are flat. This is what it's looking like so far. I think I'm going to sew along like here, the shoulders, and then maybe like the side part here too. Because I need to know like how it lines up right here. If I have to like go in more, like fold that over again and sew it, or what. I don't think I'm gonna do a line in, honestly. I think it's looking fine how it is. I mean, how often do you really see the inside of something? I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna sew the shoulders and then the sides right here. That will show how it's all lining up. And we'll be doing like seam to seam. So the seam right here to like this seam here. I feel like this was kind of the hardest part maybe. I'm now sewing the crochet piece onto the fabric piece. And to do this, like it was a lot of pinning stuff. I started with the shoulders. I pinned those, and then I sewed them together. Made sure everything was lined up. I feel like that part made the most sense because the shoulders are going to sit, at the top, and then like everything hangs down. So to pin the stuff and then sew the shoulders first made the most sense. So I did that. And then once the shoulders were sewn, I think I then went to that seam on the side seam, and sewed the fabric to the crochet piece. I sewed those together. So then I could see like how the rest of it laid. I did that to, I think, one side, and then I started to pin the back. I pinned along the half double crochet rows, and I sewed down those half double crochet rows. So honestly, with this part, didn't worry too much about sewing in a straight line, because with the yarn and like the thread that I chose, like it was a really good match, so you couldn't really see it much. I think also because like the fabric was, or the yarn was thicker and kind of like fluffy, you don't really see it. But to sew, I did use like the walk-in foot. I did a zigzag stitch still with this. I just kept that. And it sewed pretty good. There were some like problems where the foot would get, like the walk-in foot would get stuck on like around the yarn, because, you know, it's like crocheted, so there's loops everywhere, because crochet is loops. And you would have to like pull it and like be very careful and make sure it's all flat while you're trying to like move the fabric around. So that was like a very hard part. Like the actual sewing of it did not take long, but the maneuvering of the fabric around to make sure that the crochet part doesn't get pulled at all was hard. So yeah, I just went down the half double crochet rows and made sure that stuff was lined up, and I pinned everything before I started to sew it together, and it was working pretty good. The walk-in foot definitely helps. It pulls like the fabric along, and with it being thick, it was a lot easier. So yeah, I just went down every single half double crochet row that I had pinned. I think I started on half, and I started, since I sewed like the shoulder seams and then the side seams, I started pinning at the half double crochet rows that were closest to the shoulder seams or the side seams, and then I worked my way towards like the center, and then I did like the shoulders, the side seam. I don't know why I keep saying shoulder. I then did the side seam and pinned the stuff together following the half double crochet rows on the other side, and luckily it lined up pretty good. For the sleeves, it was a little hard because, you know, it's a circle, it's round, so you have to like fit it around your sewing machine, and it's not the easiest to like move a whole thing around a sewing machine. So like you have the sleeve that you're sewing, and then you have to like move the rest of it to get it right. So didn't feel much of that, but once that was all done, I then had to weave in the ends and cut off all the little thread pieces. So that is what I'm doing here. This honestly did not take very long. It was like 10 minutes probably. What I found is that like where the yarn was that I had to weave in, like where it was sewn, like connected to the fabric, it kind of, I feel like it kind of helped make the ends stay in better, because it was like tighter and it wasn't that loose of a stitch. So we'll see how that holds up. But yeah, this is like the end of it. It was looking pretty good, I think, at this point. I think overall I am proud of myself with what this ended up turning out like. Yeah, there's just me sewing in all the ends, cutting all of the little thread pieces. Yeah, this, I wasn't looking forward to this, and I put it off until the last minute. So yeah, just weaving in all the ends. Okay, and here is all done. It's all sewn together, everything is weaved in. Hopefully I didn't miss any like little thread pieces. But yeah, you can see the fabric through it, which I like. Like you can see the pattern, like there's some animals that like you can, are a little like covered, but then there are some that like you can see, like here's the face and then like the tail, so I like that. This I sewed along like the half double crochet here, and you can't really see like the where it was sewn too much. Like you have to look pretty close. So I think it's looking pretty, like, I think it looks good. I think it turned out good, especially like with this being my first time like sewing clothing pretty much. And I've only, like with my sewing experience, I've only made these little like cubes, like fabric cubes. So didn't really know what to do, but all of this here is open, and then like the inside you can see where like it's connected. But I was thinking of adding a lining, but I didn't really like that idea because I don't know, I felt like that could be too much to do with like adding a lining. I didn't want to try to figure that out. So I don't think it looks bad, the inside, because like if it's just like this and like you're moving around, I don't think you'd really see the inside. But yeah, this is it all done. So you can see a whole like stingray right there. This is the back. The back, I didn't sew this. I kind of like forgot to sew this together, but I don't know, I might do that at a different time. We'll see how it works. But yeah, all along here, these are all sewn, so you can't go, but then this is open. Yeah, so there it is on the mannequin. This is what it looks like on. I think I like it. Really proud of how it looks. If you decide to try to do something like this, please let me know how it goes. If you can follow along. I don't know, this video wasn't like a real in-depth tutorial on how to do this, so I could do that. Like, I do have more fabric and I do have a bunch of yarn. I have some green of the same yarn that could work for another one, so we'll see. Maybe if I make another one, I'll try to line it. Overall, I really like how this turned out. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, the inside, I don't necessarily like that you can see all of this stuff, but I didn't want to try to add a line in, so maybe if I were to make like another one, I would line it somehow, maybe. I don't know, we'd have to see how I do that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I think this is like a great way to combine crochet and sewing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Bye.